What's up guys, it's Silverscar, 6 kills, 1 tree, and a gun that doesn't even want to be here. Today, we're talking about the UZI, the pistol on steroids that defined a century of warfare. I just finished a Livik match where I barely had to move because this thing deletes anyone within 20 meters. But behind the rapid fire is a story of a genius who hated fame, a revolutionary bolt design, and a global legacy that refused to die. This is the ultimate history of the UZI. The story of the UZI doesn't start in a high-tech factory, it starts with a teenage prodigy. Uziel Gal was born in Germany in 1923. He was an absolute mechanical genius from a young age. By the time he was 15, he had already built a fully functional automatic arrow thrower. Later, after moving to what would become Israel, his obsession with weapons actually got him in trouble. In 1943, he was caught scoping out British Army facilities trying to get weapon parts, seeking to make something better than the unreliable Sten guns they had. He spent time in prison, but that didn't stop him from becoming one of the greatest firearms designers in history. In the late 1940s, shortly after the State of Israel was established, the military desperately needed a new, reliable weapon. Gal designed a prototype that was finished by 1950, and it completely outperformed the competition in trials. But here is the crazy part. Gal was a deeply humble man. When the military decided to patent the weapon and name it the UZI, in 1952, Gal actually fought against it. He explicitly requested that the weapon not be named after him, but the military denied his request. He hated the fame so much that he stopped using the nickname UZI publicly and would only introduce himself by his last name. So, why does the UZI feel like a pistol on steroids? It all comes down to a brilliant piece of engineering called a telescoping bolt. Gal took inspiration from post-war Czechoslovakian submachine guns. Normally, a gun's heavy metal bolt sits entirely behind the barrel, which makes the weapon long and clunky. A telescoping bolt is hollowed out and actually wraps around and past the breech end of the barrel. This allowed the UZI to have the necessary heavy mass inside the gun to operate reliably, but drastically reduced the overall length of the weapon. It is why the gun is so incredibly compact. Because the bolt was shifted forward over the barrel, Gal could move the magazine out from under the barrel and put it straight inside the pistol grip. This created the famous hand finds hand principle. In a dark room or a chaotic firefight, you don't have to look for a magazine well, your brain naturally knows how to bring your hands together. Furthermore, the entire weapon was constructed primarily from stamped sheet metal, which made it incredibly cheap to mass produce and extremely easy to strip down for maintenance. It was the perfect weapon for a new nation on a budget. By 1956, the UZI was placed into general issue for the Israel Defense Forces. It proved to be incredibly reliable in the dusty, sandy conditions of the desert where older guns would jam. From the 1960s through the 1980s, more UZI submachine guns were sold to global military and law enforcement markets than any other submachine gun ever made. It became the ultimate VIP protection weapon. In 1981, during the assassination attempt on U.S. President Ronald Reagan, an iconic photo captured a Secret Service agent pulling an UZI from a briefcase, forever cementing its status as a legend. The original UZI was a beast, firing at a steady 600 rounds per minute. But as warfare evolved, special forces demanded weapons that were even smaller and faster. Quote, "This led to the creation of the Mini UZI in 1980, which had a higher rate of fire. In 1986, the Micro UZI was introduced, an ultra-compact variant designed specifically for concealed carry and extreme close quarters. This micro version is exactly what we use in PUBG Mobile, which explains why it fires so ridiculously fast and sounds like a buzzsaw. If it was so legendary, why don't modern militaries use it as their primary weapon today? The Uzi's biggest flaw is that it fires from an open bolt. This means that when you pull the trigger, a heavy piece of metal physically slams forward before the bullet is fired. This creates a noticeable delay between pulling the trigger and the gun firing, and the clunky forward motion jerks the weapon, ruining your accuracy on the first shot. While the open bolt design is mechanically simpler, it can't compete with the surgical accuracy of modern closed bolt weapons like the MP5. Eventually, the Uzi fell out of favor for professional frontline combat. In 2003, the Israeli military announced they were officially phasing it out, calling the half-century-old weapon antiquated. It was replaced by more sophisticated rifles like the M16 and the Taver. The US also moved on to weapons like the P90 and the MP5. A gun expert even noted that while it gained a reputation as a macho weapon, heavily used in bad Hollywood action movies, it was ultimately too inefficient and inaccurate for modern standards. But in the world of PUBG Mobile, none of those real-world flaws matter. In a tiny map like Livik, where enemies are hiding behind every tree, you don't need long-range, closed-bolt accuracy. You need a compact, high-speed shredder that won't clip through walls. The Uzi's telescoping design makes it the ultimate building clearer, and its insane fire rate drops level 3 vests before the enemy can even aim down their sights. It might be retired in real life, but in Livik, the Uzi is still the undisputed king of close quarters. That is the story of Uziel Gal and the gun that changed the world. If you want to see the history of the gun that finally fixed the M4's biggest problem, click the video right here on the screen. I'm Silverscar, and I'll catch you in the next one.